Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American Hour. I'm your host, Clay Douglas, and my guest today is Donna Taylor. We'll be talking about Mark Taylor, and maybe we'll get to hear Mark. Hello, Donna. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing all right.
I'm glad to hear that. I've got a little bit of an update for our listeners here about somebody that you know pretty well. Wesley Hoyt could not be with us today because he's on his way to Idaho, and let me give you this story first, so you understand. The Colorado lawyer who defended Edgar Steele in his murder for hire case and lost has been disbarred. Robert T. McAllister agreed this week to give up his law license after he acknowledged misusing client funds on 2 occasions, unrelated, it says, to Steele's case, according to a document signed in Colorado Supreme Court. According to the document, McAllister misused a $5,255.43 check while representing a company in a lawsuit. He also used $100,000 from another client, transferring $80,000 to his own account and $20,000 into account owned by Steamboat Skyglass Lodge, LLC, an entity he controls. McAllister was the chief criminal deputy for the U.S. Attorney's Office in District of Columbia and the Northern District of Illinois. That ought to tell you how legitimate he is. Crime state of Illinois. Steele was represented by a public defender until supporters raised a reported $120,000 and McAllister took over. He handled most of the questioning during Steele's trial in Boise, which ended with the jurors convicting Steele on all charges. Now, I believe, and this is just my opinion, that the corruption this attorney shows that he could have easily been bought off and put in place by Southern poverty law. That's an update. That's just an update. We will keep track of this. You're the first to hear that Wesley Hoyt will be representing Edgar Steele, and Edgar's wife will have a different attorney. Her attorney of record will be, let's see, who is it? I'm not sure exactly who that new attorney is, but I'll keep you advised. Donna, how are you doing? Tell me, I understand that you've been working to get Mark off of these drugs, and
oh my gosh, let me this start. If I didn't have Wesley Hoyt as my attorney, I would have never seen Mark again. Ever.
I believe that.
I know that. I would never, ever see my son again. They were going to do something to him. Okay?
And I understand Wesley still, I talked with Wesley last night. Wesley still does not know, they have not come forth with any information about how much Mark was given, what his medical records are. He thinks, he thought you might have it. I said, I don't think you do. What's the story?
No. No, I don't have any, what they did to him. I don't have a thing. But so far Mark is doing good. We have a doctor in Denver that's on our side as far as coming off of him. And, so far Mark's doing good. We have a little bit to go, but, I'm thankful for that.
What? And, tell me about these drugs he's on, because, I've just been I've been talking for the last, for, months, years, I guess, about the poisoning of our food and the poisoning by the chemical companies, the pharmaceutical company. They got 200,000% markup on the drugs that they're selling you.
Exactly. Well, first of all, Mark is on clozapine, and the drug is given to somebody that is in really bad shape. Somebody that's murdered somebody or something. And he was put on 400 milligrams of it. And the guy tell you, it's a real touchy drug to have blood work done before they give him a prescription of drugs every week. Every week he has his blood drawn.
Every week he has what?
Every week he has to have his blood drawn before they give the prescription to him. That's how serious this drug is.
And they had him on it for a year, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They sure did. And they told me he could never be off. He'll be on it the rest of his life. That's what they said down there. But that isn't what this doctor in Denver says. This doctor in Denver's taking him off of it. Can you believe it?
Have you gotten any information about how much Medicare or Medicaid or the state access has been charged by this medical company? Are they releasing any information?
No. I have not gotten any of that. We're hoping that Westfield will be able to get that information. Like I said, there was a little that I could get done. I mean, absolutely, it has to be an attorney to get information anymore. And even he's having a hard time because we don't even have any of Mark's medical records. He's been home over 2 months. Okay?
And they're not releasing any records to his doctors? Don't they have to do that?
They won't release them. Not at all. And I don't think they care, and I don't think they think they have to either. Right? I think they don't care, and they don't have to. They don't want to. That's how criminal this situation is been. We're working with drug pushers, not medical people. And when I say that, I'm not going to give that word for everyone out there, but the ones I've been running across have been very, very criminal. Okay? Not only in Colorado Springs, but Arizona, the biggest problem.
Well,
Arizona has been so good.
Arizona, has not, especially Tucson here, hasn't been...
Well, see, in Denver, they can't force you to take them. The judge told me that. I went to court in Denver, and the judge that took Mark's case when he came back here, so that he could be in the hands of Colorado instead of Arizona, because Arizona was pushing for him to have a guardian, which in Denver, they don't have temporary guardians. There's no such thing, but the court in Denver did it for us so they wouldn't have any jurisdiction of coming back and hurting Mark again. That's why Denver took over. So, you see, Denver, I guess it's a blessing I'm in Denver for now. Who knows how long they will be that way, But they've been good to me, Denver. They agree that Mark doesn't need all the drugs. They agree. Mark's court-appointed attorney from Denver agrees that he don't need to be on them. The doctors are doing it and agreeing. And my attorney. So you see how that worked? I mean, it worked. Somehow we've got out of the mesh into a better system for Mark right now. But what we have, I have to be honest with you, our income is not fair. We're on SSI and we owe money to these attorneys.
What's that? Repeat that.
Mark and I are on Social Disability because of what happened at Columbine, and we don't have the money to pay our attorneys, so, we're still needing help, and, we're just step by step trying to get things done. I mean, if there's anybody out there who would help us, that would be wonderful if that led to.
Well, I still have Wesley's number up there. He's still taking donations for you. But also, let's talk about
God,
let's talk about this. Now, one of the things that they tried to accuse you for of in the hospital system, they said you were taking you and Mark were making all this money off his book and you know with now you know I get that complaint a lot. Well, you're trying to make money. Well, no shit, Sherlock.
Well,
you know.
Well, yeah, Mark wrote. He did a book, but it wasn't a very big book. But we're not sure. We think we've been ripped off on that end too, on the because we haven't seen any money from it. Okay, we haven't seen no money from it.
That's right. Now, who the publisher of this book again? I'm going to start doing research on here because they won't even return your calls. This is a publisher.
They will not return my calls. So.
What is the name of this publishing company?
Tate Publishing Company.
T-A-T-E Publishing.
Yeah, they're in Nashville, Oklahoma.
Where?
And this is not the first time.
Wait, Donna, take a breath now. What town in Oklahoma?
Maverick.
Maverick?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. And
what's the name of Mark's book? What is the name of Mark's book?
Oh, Mark's book is I Asked, God Answered, A Columbine Miracle by Mark Taylor.
I asked
and
God.
Basically, it's not a very big book, but it's all true. It's all true.
Okay, folks, you might check into that for me too. The Tate Publishing out of Maverick, Oklahoma. I Asked, God Answered by Mark Taylor, and let's see if you can talk to anybody, if you can find out anything about this book, if you can find out they got it for sale, let me know. Give me any information. My number again, I am Clay Douglas. My website is up here. Is up there. It's got all of my numbers on it. And Lady K on the chat room wants to know if she says Mark needs his liver checked. Have the doctors check in on that or anything?
No. No, they haven't. I could request it, you know.
Yeah, well, I would check them out.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now, from accessibility, it's hard for me to get things that Mark needs other than stuff that's covered under the crazy Medicaid. Because Medicaid only gives you, you know, the basic stuff. I mean, medicine. I mean, it doesn't give anything to heal, you know what I mean? So we're really needing help. I'm really thankful that we have an apartment now. We moved into an apartment in Denver, Mark and I did. And without a vehicle. Mark and I do not have transportation. So we have to rely on everyone else picking us up and getting us to doctor's appointments. So if there's anyone that would help us that way, you know, like help with a car, or, you know, someone that has a car that we could use, or anything in Denver, we would greatly appreciate it. Well, we're not expecting to be in this funk forever, okay, because we have Wesley helping us. I found out something last night about Amazon. I didn't get the whole information about Amazon, but apparently there's something wrong with Amazon, and I need to find out more. And that's where Mark's book has been advertised on.
Well, my book's been on Amazon. I haven't got one single order off of Amazon, and I don't believe that's happening. You know, I don't believe that a website like Amazon with a title like Mystery Babylon, New World Order Unveiled, isn't selling on Amazon. But I haven't got checked.
Exactly. Something's wrong. Well, I got somebody last night, Clay, I find out more about, but they said that Amazon was cheating people. So I'll find out more.
Yeah, Uncle says Amazon is infiltrated and
stealing money from people. We'll find out if that's true. But I'm experiencing something when they keep advertising their book. Now, why would Mark's book be up there, Clay? If it wasn't selling, why would they have it up there all the time? are promoting it with the other two books, The Girls That Died at Columbine. They're promoting my son's book with theirs, selling it all together. And we know they sold a lot of books.
I will check in more on that.
But my main thing is healthcare. People need to raise up and do something about it. And when I say do something about it, look at Wes Sequoia, how he's going and taking cases and doing something, you know. He helped Mark. I mean, that kind of an attorney deserves to be paid, and we should try to get some kind of foundation together to pay a good attorney like him to do the different cases that people are needing somebody like him. I haven't found hardly any attorneys that are anywhere like he is. I mean, somebody turned me down. Wesley never did.
Well, Wesley is handling Edgar's case now, and I feel optimistic. They ought to be able to get a new trial here since his lawyer has been disbarred. And since, you know, there's money. If this lawyer got $120,000 out of him and got a guilty plea and got no witnesses for him, something's wrong with that.
Exactly. And it's the same thing with Mark and I are broke now because we hired an attorney to sue the drug company right after college. We lost all our money, Clay.
And you won the case, didn't you?
Yeah, we won the case, lousy $10,000, but it took $120,000 just like that. You know what I mean?
You know, the part of the problem, we've got several problems in this country.
Yeah, we're broke.
The drug companies are making all the money. They're the ones buying all the time on television. Television's feeding you this bullshit. You know, selling you. 20 years ago, you couldn't advertise pharmaceuticals on television.
No, and now they're doing it.
And we're a hell of a lot healthier because of that. Well, at least,
excuse me, hang on a minute.
At least most of us are.
Okay. Mark, I could share something about Mark. People out there need to know that my son survived 13 bullets, and I believe God put him back for a reason, definitely. He spoke at the Federal Drug Administration in 2004, and hey, we were just jumping up and down and rejoicing because they said they're going to put the black warning labels on drugs. Yeah, if you watch commercials, it warns you of the death of the dangerousness of the drugs. But you know what? They're not very happy about that. That Mark spoke there, if somebody in the Federal Drug Administration allowed that to happen, with the black warning label system on there. But I believe it was because of my son's testimony. God used him. You know, Mark was willing to do something for a cause, and God used him. So, people, if my son who was injured and survived 13 bullets, and went through what he went and could do that, how much more can we do that haven't been injured?
Everybody is afraid to do anything. Everybody's afraid to donate. I'm broke too. I got no money today. They moved the Social Security back. They changed this. They changed that. And yeah, I got no money to go do a laundry. You know, don't have enough quarters in my pocket.
Oh my Lord!
So you know, folks, we've been asked, and I've been talking about my books, and I'm telling you, folks, I have read every book out there. Bill Cooper was a friend of mine. I read Behold a Pale Horse. I know Fritz Springmeier, Bloodlines of the Illuminati, was a friend of mine, and I sold his book for years. Mystery Babylon here is the New World Order Unveiled. It tells you, it really brings everything together. It's got the history of the Rothschilds. It's got all the way to the Homeland Security, dual citizen control, Homeland Security, spying on Americans. This is the KGB reborn. They've done it here in America. And
right.
let me try to explain to you folks how serious this is. And we just had a Iraqi vet shot 60 times here and left to bleed to death on the floor in his hallway with his wife and child huddling in a closet because he walked to the door to see what an armed man was doing in his front yard, pointing a gun at his wife. He walked to the door with a gun with the safety still on, and he was shot 60 times. In Miami, some black man was shot 40 times by the police right in the middle of Miami Beach, and I think that one happened to be black. Now let a judge explain to you what is happening here.
Does the government work for us or do we work for the government? Is the job of the police to police for you or to police you? And if the police watch you, who watches the police? Tonight, the state of the police in a police state. A week and a half ago, over the Memorial Day weekend, a man was shot to death by cops in Miami. Details remain murky, but what's known has largely become known because of the release of personal videos made by witnesses of this incident. Because of personal on-the-spot cell videos, we know police shot more than 100 rounds into the dead man's car. Because of these
Stop whatever you're doing, Donna.
Confiscated at least one cell phone at gunpoint from a bystander filming this incident. We know from a local news station that the police stole and destroyed one of its cameras. Over the coming days, more will become clear about this depressingly common story of death and abuse at the hands of the cops. And then it will be in the hands of the residents of Miami to demand accountability from their police department. The issue is not that the police have the right to shoot. A jury will decide that. The issue is, do we have the right to watch and record the police when they shoot? The answer is, of course we do. Demanding accountability and defending your rights against the police specifically, and the government generally, are difficult and dangerous tasks. As you know from viewing Freedom Watch, it can be very risky to stand up to the government when it is wrong, especially so with the police. I have a book coming out on Labor Day which addresses much of this. Its title is, It's Dangerous to Be Right When the Government is Wrong. Nowhere is this more obvious than when the police are caught breaking the law. Today, from Maryland to Illinois, government has cracked down not on police who violate your constitutional rights, but on those who film the police violating your constitutional rights. That's wrong. No matter what the state or local law may say, your constitutional right to film the police in the course of their public duties, or when they are present on private property where the owner permits you to film, trumps any law to the contrary. That's so, because your right to watch the government and record what you see is a natural right that is protected by the Constitution, and it cannot be taken away by the government.
Well, it is being taken away. Edgar Steele's only crime was telling you the truth about the ADL, the Southern Poverty Law, the Jewish bankers, the Jewish manufacturers of weapons, and the Jewish Homeland Security, controlled Homeland Security that has formed what they call fusion centers to push these SWAT teams, to push the militarization, to push the attacks on our rights. And part of that plan is keeping you drugged and putting you in. I've got a lady friend that's been, we've been seeing each other for 6 months. She was on so much medication that she's had 3 or 4 heart attacks. She's got diabetes. They gave her pills for that. They gave her pills for this. They gave her pills for this, and then they tell her, well, we think you're going to have Alzheimer's. How do they know she's going to have Alzheimer's? Because they're feeding her all of the drugs. She's in the hospital now. Her daughter doesn't think she's going to live in Houston. So you know, folks, and I had a young man that worked for me from the time he got out of high school, built his own business after I switched careers, and I was with him the week before he died taking pain pills. You know, more people, 20,000 people a year die from legal drugs. Only 15,000 die from all the cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamine in the world. Are in the United States, anyway. something's wrong with these pharmaceutical companies. And Donna, you were not doing anything. You were on my radio show, and you came through Arizona and stopped in another town 90 miles away from me.
Yes.
And then suddenly, Mark was picked up and held.
Well, what happened, let me tell you what happened. We left Colorado because we were warned by a head church there to run with him because they were out to hurt Mark. So I was heading for California, but in between I wanted to stop and visit a few friends, including you, Clay. So we came from there, and Mark wasn't feeling good. He was like, it was like he was having some kind of a convulsion or a seizure. So I thought, what the heck, maybe it's from what they did to him in Colorado, or it could be from a methane gas leak that we had in the house. I didn't know what was going on. So I pulled into the Banner Gate Hospital there in Mesa, Arizona. And all I asked for is to find out what's wrong with Mark, and darn it, they kept him. They wouldn't let him out. They would not let me take him out.
Why would they let, I mean, what was the reason given you? I mean, if I took my son to the hospital and they said, well, you can't take him, we're going to keep him here. You know, it would be the same reaction that they told me when my mother got out of the hospital after having a triple bypass and was drooling all over her pelvis, couldn't talk to me. I said, what's wrong with her? That's not from the heart. Oh, it's a kill.
We know now why they kept him there, because it was political. You know, Mark stood against the drug companies for several years, exposing them with Dr. Ann Blake Tracy, you know, and we sued the drug company. We made a difference at the Federal Drug Administration by getting the black warning labels on them. So we know for a fact that, because we were warned in Colorado Springs by the head doctor there to run and get out of there before they kill him. And also, the head court, Beth, I have her name, down Kelp or something, she was the head attorney there for the mental place in the court system there in Mesa. At the Desert Vista Mental Hospital. She pulls me aside after they do a court thing on Mark, which they're going to put him in there for a little bit. And my understanding, he wasn't going to be there very long. They're just going to keep him there for a little bit. That was their excuse, okay? She pulled me aside. She says, Mrs. Taylor, and I had a friend with me, okay, who was a notary lady from Phoenix. She says, Mrs. Taylor, right in front of me and my friend, okay, if you ever get him out of here, you better run. There was not a threat. Arizona threat, Colorado threat. Okay? So you know who did this to him. You know who did this to him. I couldn't even get him out and bring him home. And then they stopped the whole family from calling him. Nobody from the family could even communicate with Mark anymore. No more phone calls. Then I knew something was really wrong. You know, the problem was with myself, and I'm going to blame myself. I never dreamt that there's so many bad people around.
Well,
it took a while for me to register here. This was real evil, what they were doing, and I believe it was set up by the drug company for sure.
It's the banksters are behind the illegal drugs. They funded the pharmaceutical companies. They funded DuPont to and help destroy hemp as a resource. You know, I mean, cause let's see, we make nylon and rayon out of oil. So we got to put these hemp people out of business.
Now listen, I went to a church and complained about this, and they were worried about it, so they sent a head sergeant person over. Her name is Jenny. I should have had her last name. She came out and seen me at the hospital and said to me, you and your son's life are in danger, but you wouldn't explain to me why.
Where was that?
She said, I'm going to go to the head sergeant and get help for you. Do you know what? She never came back.
Where was this, in Colorado?
Arizona.
In Arizona?
The hospital, Banner Gate.